We are two bald guys and a microphone. Welcome to the continuing saga of personal development and leaving a legacy.
That's it. Of course, we want to give a shout out to our good friends at Tom's Productions, live here from Tom's Productions studio. Tom's Productions, you think it, he'll ink it on all your printing and decorated apparel needs. Take a look at the tumblers in front of us, hats, beer cooler holder thingies.
Oh no, that's
no. But yeah, he can take care of it. And of course, our good friends at Health Markets, the Hometown Insurance Solutions Agency. If you have health insurance questions or just need some coverage, you'll figure out that health insurance is like Swiss cheese, covers the bread, a lot of holes in it. Send an email to kjones@healthmarkets.com.
and healthmarkets.com.
Healthmarkets.com.
K Jones, just like you, K Jones.
Right on. And or give a call at 815-861-0294, and they'll help you answer all your questions.
Outstanding. Well, here we are. Last show we kind of got into the who was the mentor, who was the person, who was that, the coach, and how have you become that for other people. But today we're going to kind of talk about the things that you read and put into your mind, the books, as a friend of mine calls, the shelf help, the things on the shelf that are we buy them to help us, and sometimes we never go back into them. So it's one of my thoughts when you look at authors, some of the authors you read, and Ken, a couple of years ago, you read 50 books, 60 books in a year?
It was like 100-some books.
It was a lot.
It was a lot of books. Yeah.
It was a lot. It hurt my eyes just thinking about it.
Now, was it all reading or was it some of it audiobook?
Some was audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's reading.
Yeah. In today's world, that's reading. But along the way, we read things and gosh, they're so good when we read them. We think, I got to do that. But most of the time, we don't get around to it.
Yeah.
But some of them are really good. I know for me, one of the first self-help type of books that I read was written by Zig Ziglar, called See You at the Top. And I've been trying to find a book that matches up to that one for a long time, but maybe it was at the point I was in my life that it had such a major impact on me. But there's been a few others since then, and I'll go into them a bit. But what do you guys think? Is there one that stands out for you that really did make a difference?
Penthouse.
For me, probably, I would say Rhinoceros Success, because it was like the first book that I read once I got into personal development. So that one, because of that reason, sticks out. And it's just all about, having that determination, continuing to move forward, don't let anything get in your way type of attitude. Now, I know that's not necessarily the formula, to just grind and go hard all the time. But it still did something for me. It kind of got me on this path. Probably a more recent book was one called Wake Up Calls by Eric Allenbaugh. And so it kind of talks about like when you have that moment in your life where something hits you and it wakes you up, whether it's a divorce or, losing a job or something, like how do we bounce back from that? How do you take the lesson from that and learn, but then take that and then not allow yourself to sleepwalk through life and just to stay present?
We just talk about that in the green room.
Yeah, that's
funny. Probably one of the first books I read was The Magic of Thinking Big.
Yeah.
So you kind of the same thing, right? You get that first book and you're like, your eyes open up a little bit. And I was just thinking about that book just the other day, and I was like, maybe I should crack that one back open, because there is a magic of thinking big. And then right now I'm reading Fierce Conversations, and it's a really uncomfortable book because it kind of plucks at some chords inside of you. It seems like today everybody wants to have fierce conversations online, then here
emoji
right, here it's like Hey, how about those Bears?
Right.
Not so strong. But the other thing is we tend not to have fierce conversations with ourselves.
Yeah.
Right, that hold accountability. So it's a really strong book, well written, but it's also a little bit uncomfortable. But got to get that uncomfortable, I think, sometimes.
The speaker this morning on the Ziegler Monday morning devotions was actually Tom Ziegler, Zig's son, and he's talking about the light within. And one of the things he said, and I really agreed with, we used to be able to go to the table, have a conversation. It might get a little heated. It might get up a little bit. At the end of the day, we shake hands, we hug, we walk out friends. Today, it almost seems like anytime somebody doesn't think or believe the way you think, I'm just going to block you, shut you out of my life. I don't want to have any conversation. He said the difference is we used to debate or argue to find the truth. Today, we debate or argue to win.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right. And that was really powerful. Tom Ziegler, he's putting together a program. Watch for it coming out. It will. I think it'll be a good one. Tom is really coming into his own as an inspirational guy. One of the things he said this morning, when I first started speaking, I figured out real quick I wasn't my dad,
Yeah.
and the rest of us did too. But he is such a good guy, and a strong believer. One of the other books for me later on was one called The Secret Code of Success. Noah St. John, and Noah later wrote a book more focused on the secret code, which was affirmations, and he wrote a book called The Book of Affirmations, and that's another one I highly recommend to pick up and to understand how the subconscious works within the process.
I still use that on a lot of my athletes.
Yeah.
Get in a shooting rep. I always say you're thinking of the wrong stuff. Ask yourself why it's so easy to make that shot.
Amen.
What? Just trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Well, and with everything I'm doing with the brain training these days, and really beginning to understand more about the prefrontal cortex and the basal ganglia and how those two interact. When they're working together, life's good. That's that flow state we get into, right? When they're battling each other, it's how many times have we said it? Stop overthinking. Just relax and let it happen. John Molnar was a basketball player at Johnsburg High School when I was a soccer coach up there, and I did a lot of other things around the school. And he started out the basketball season. He's a senior. He's a leader on the team, but he was 1 for 20 from the free throw line. And I came through practice, and it's free throw shooting time, and he's at one of the side practice, and he is just putting up brick after brick after brick. I'm like, what are you doing? He says, I got to keep shooting. He says, no, not that way. He says, you're practicing to miss, but I want you to just keep shooting. I had another player there. I want you to keep feeding in basketball. And so they kept feeding in basketball, and I got in his ear, literally right in his ear. And I'm like, parties, women, math test, running, soccer. He goes, what are you doing? Just keep shooting. Swish, swish, swish. Why is that working? I says, because you're listening to me and you're not thinking about it. You're one of the most natural athletes I've ever seen, but you're just overthinking it. How many times in life do we do that same type of thing?
Way too much.
All the time, right?
Right.
And what can we put on automatic, and what do we actually need to free up our brain to think about?
Yeah, you have to work on the internal dialogue. We're talking about the subconscious mind. And a lot of times when we get into trouble is when our subconscious mind and then what we're thinking are incongruent. And when they're not aligning up, that's when we find ourselves struggling and going through all kinds of difficult challenges.
Incongruent means not equal. He's from Iowa. We got to be careful with big words around
I
this
was about
guy.
ready to Google that.
Google is this thing that you put on your phone. But it is, there's so much truth in that. When we just relax, life comes, and we trust our education, our knowledge, our experience. We normally do the right thing. when we get caught up in a moment, and let's just say you might have a teenager in your life or might have had a teenager in your life, and they come home a half hour late, right? Probably a really legitimate excuse, but you don't want to hear it,
No.
right? They walk in the door and you're like, you're a half hour late, but no buts about it. Go to your room. You're grounded for, right? If we would have just slowed down, listen, have a conversation, right? This is the reason I gave you a cell phone so you can call me if you're going to be late, and work our way through it. But once the anger starts building, we do stupid stuff. Maybe not you guys, and maybe not you, but I know I have a tendency to
You
be
still
that
got a
guy.
lot of room for personal growth.
I have a lot of room for personal growth, but then don't we all?
That's right.
And personal growth, it meant something different when we were 25. It meant something different when we were 45. And that means something different when I'm closing in on 75.
Yeah. Well, it does. And that's called wisdom, right? As we get older, I think.
Yeah.
But to me, is you gotta practice, right? You have to try things and practice and read things and practice and read things, and continue that growth to try to fully understand what it is I'm trying to grow into. We don't have a blueprint, right? We don't know. We don't, take a look at your kids. You have one, you have three, I have four. And, there's no guide on that.
No.
Right. And now John is what?
16.
16. Yep. And
Good looking young man,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Looks like his dad.
with hair.
Who is his dad?
You know, have you met him?
Never seen him before.
But like my two oldest always say, "Oh, you're so easy." On the two youngest, I go, "I didn't know what I was doing with you."
Yeah.
I said, I was 25, 26, 27. I was I didn't even know life at that point, right? So there was that personal growth there. Now, did I read books on how to raise kids? No, I didn't do that. I just started raising kids.
You didn't read Dr. Spock?
And it's that way, but then all of a sudden you want to learn something about leadership. You get a book on leadership. You want to, how do you improve yourself? How do you become that, next huge success? And you start to read books and personal growth. But the amazing thing to me is, man, I have like a whole bookshelf full of books that I've read 3 chapters, 2 chapters, half the book. There are so many that I didn't finish reading. And every time I look at that bookshelf, I'm like, maybe I should dip back into that. I've read a lot of books. I mean, I hated reading growing up. I got through school without reading much, right? When they would do a hey, you got to do a book report, I'd read Job. It's a short book in the Bible. Like, yeah, but it's a book, right? But the thing is I got those for a specific reason, probably at a certain time in my life.
Yeah.
And now it's not there. I mean, it's like the Encyclopedia Britannica. Back in our day, that was Google.
That was Google,
right? That was what we used. And if you still have them, you just don't even look at them because you're like, well, I don't necessarily need that right now.
I bought the Encyclopedia Britannica from a door-to-door salesman when I was in the Army. Had a lot of extra money. And like, yeah, we got to have the encyclopedia. Then later on, somebody gave me a full encyclopedia, the Funk and Wagnalls encyclopedia. And then down the road, there's another one of the bigger one. I had 3 sets of encyclopedias, and I'd probably opened them 4 times, just looking for some,
something random,
or some kid. One of the kids needed a book report on something, or
but we couldn't be like, can I look at Toad? You'd have to go and research all the toads. Like, do not look.
No, it's that Toad. The pictures didn't just pop up. You had to flip through them.
But that's with personal growth and reading and legacy and things like that, it's but I know what's in those books, and I've recommended those books to other people, even though I've read 2 chapters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a good book. You're gonna have to read this.
Do you ever stop and think maybe now I would see something in it that I didn't see before?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Read it the first time probably 25 years ago. I'm in a mastermind. They said, we're going to study Think and Grow Rich. And I went, all right, yeah, looking at it again as an older. It was just the exact same as it was when I was younger. But I actually did more of the things it suggested to do when I was older. I was just the opposite of you two. My grandmother was a town librarian. So reading for me was my isolation. I isolated by reading. So I had, I'd go to class, they'd give it didn't matter what book it was. I'd read the math book from cover to cover. I loved reading, and then I never had to really worry about anything. Never did homework. I mean, I hated homework.
Didn't do much of that either.
Well, I read the books. But yeah, I mean, Uncle Pete used to read the dictionary. That's what he just started reading the dictionary.
Wow.
Great. God rest his soul.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
But yeah, I think that when you're in those spaces, you're in those books, you're at seminars, whatever the case may be, you're listening to them on YouTube now. You can get a lot of that good content on YouTube. It has to mean something to you, right? If it doesn't, I've listened to so many, but if it doesn't mean something to you,
Yeah.
right? But it also has to be the right person.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can only listen, and Tony, thanks for tuning in, but I can only listen to Tony Robbins so long.
God, your voice
Yeah.
just kills me.
Right. But Les Brown, I can all day with Les.
Right.
I don't know, is his cadence, I don't know what it is. But I never listen to Les and don't pick something up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I can listen to Tony and go, oh, that's kind of interesting. But I don't know if it's his voice or whatever. But it's got to be somebody who catches you.
And for me, it's Zig Ziglar. The other day, I went out for a walk, and there was a Ziglar YouTube on something. So I'm just going to put this in. Well, I got done with the walk. It was a 2-mile walk, and I was only halfway through. And I went, I'm only halfway through. I'm going to do that 2 miles again, just so I could keep listening to the stories and recalling, the things that he said. One of the favorite things that I got on a airplane, I noticed a fella next to me had his wedding ring on his thumb, and I said, "Sir, you got your wedding ring on the wrong finger." He said, "Son, I married the wrong woman." And you talk about surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
That was just his way of entering into the story of, we were talking ahead of time, and I was at a bunch of speakers this weekend, and there was 2 things that really resonated with me. The first one, the guy said, "My wife said, 'Are you listening to me?' And I thought, what a strange way to start a conversation." And everybody else in the room was staring at the guy, and I'm laughing. I'm like, that's great. I love that. And the second thing is, you can't grow an oak tree with apple seeds, right? What you put in is what you're going to get out, right? You're putting garbage in, you're getting garbage out. You're putting good stuff in. Whether it resonates today, it's going to germinate in there. And all those books kept planting seeds.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot of them that are congruent with each other.
Yeah.
Just to tell the other side of that word. And then they start coming together and they start germinating. Now all of a sudden you're developing your own version of what hearing it 3 different ways might have.
And that's a good buddy of mine, Phil. He will listen to audios all night. He'll put his earbuds in and sleep and listen to motivational speaks, books, everything all through the night. I'm like, but again, if he's planting seeds in that subconscious brain, it's planting some seeds,
Yeah.
I called him on his birthday last week.
Yeah. Turned 40. Yeah.
Interesting. So I had a question. We're talking about how things are different from when we were younger to now. What was the motivation for personal development back when you first started versus what is that thing now?
Take another lap.
For me, I wanted to be the best, salesperson out there. Right. I was working insurance back then as well. And I wanted to be somebody, I wanted to drive the Cadillacs. I wanted to drive, have the big houses, boats, all that stuff. And for a guy who doesn't have a college degree, I was like, I got to do something to educate myself to give me leverage over those who do have college degrees, was my thought, right? But then, of course, Les Brown would say, it's not what you don't have that holds you back. It's what you think you need that holds you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I get that degree, then I'll go make $1 million.
Right. So that was it. That was it. And now, probably the same, but now I work with so many 20 and 30-year-olds in athletics and in the business world here at 216 Creator Studios that it's probably, so I can help guide them better, be a Yoda type better for them than what, they know.
Yeah. What about you, Coach?
A Yoda type. I'm stuck on seeing him as Yoda. But that's good. Younger, the faster I could go, the better. Extremely athletic. I would push constantly all the time, and it didn't matter where it was. If it was at work, I was going to outwork you. If it was an athletic thing, I was going to outrun you. I was going to outshoot you. I would do whatever it was. Winning was my motivation. And I learned real quick that that's not what life is about. Winning isn't just about coming in first place. So along the way, I started learning how important it was to be part of a team. I was in high school, I had a couple of state championships in track and field, but I was an absolute jerk. I'd get on your ear, I'd run with you, and I'm like, what are you doing running so fast? I'm going to beat you. And I'd talk to him the whole way, and then I'd beat him. Right? It was just one of those things. And then later on, I think it was why I was condemned to coaching for 45 years because Coach Heckenlively, and you've heard me talk about him before, but during when my brother passed away 3 years ago, we're back in Nebraska, and Coach lives in Imperial now, which is about 100 miles away from Sutherland, where I grew up. But I called him and asked him if he would come down a day early because I know during the funeral and the services we wouldn't have a chance to talk. So him and his wife Jeanette came down the day before the funeral, and April and I went out to dinner. And I asked him, I said, Coach, tell me, I can take it. What kind of athlete was I? He said, you're a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
He said, you didn't have a clue how good you could have been because you only were good enough to win. And I think that affected me on down the road because as long as I won, I didn't care if I was doing my best. And sometimes, right, when you finally get slapped in the face, when Michael Jordan says my greatest fear is that someday I'm going to run into somebody who's practicing harder than I am, and on the field of competition, he's going to destroy me.
Yeah.
And then, and that was
This guy.
so but later on today, success for me is making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
And that came in my early 40s when I was a company commander, and we had to sit down and do a mission statement, a value statement, and really analyze yourself, get deep down in there.
It's funny that he likes to win because I hear April say, you've lost your damn mind.
Well, that's when I married her, but that's another story altogether. But it is, making a difference because there have been so many people who have made a difference in my life. And initially I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
One athlete in particular, his name was Brian. He was not a good person in school. He was asked to go to school at one of the special schools like you work at.
Yeah.
But if he was going to compete athletically, he had to compete with his home school.
Mm-hmm.
He was only allowed on the school property if he was in vision of Coach Rigby or myself. Other than that, he was not allowed there. He had done some things, and about 8, maybe 10 years after he graduated, the Dominic's grocery store was still in McHenry, and I had my Edward Jones office on the corner, and every day I'd go walk through Dominic's and Kmart and Walmart, and I'd build my business just by walking through and talking to people. And one day he says, "Coach," I turn around and here's Brian. Now Brian's a redhead, he's about 6'2", and he hugs me. Now Brian wasn't a hugging kind of guy unless he's trying to, suffocate you or take you down. He hugs me and he says, "Coach," he said, "if I would have listened to you, I wouldn't have made all the mistakes I made." I said, "Well, thank you for saying that, Brian, but once you figure that out," he said, "sitting in jail." Had some time to reflect on it. But he said, "All the lessons you were teaching, I was upset because they weren't all about soccer. And then I figured out you were teaching me about life." But it didn't resonate. But I was planting the seeds, and eventually it blossomed.
Yeah. For me, it was I wanted to get rich. I wanted to figure out a way to make a bunch of money. If I can help some people along the way, fantastic. But
if I could hurt some people along the way, so what?
Yeah. But the thing that I realized is I was in such a hurry. Like I was getting all of this head knowledge and like holding information, but it wasn't really personal development. It was like personal knowledge gathering is like all it was. But at this stage, it's like now I really want to develop it, really want to understand myself, how I operate, so I can better know how to really help other people and help other people transform. Because the other form of like knowing stuff and you can just regurgitate and tell people stuff and like, okay, fantastic, some things. But what can I actually share with people to help them gain the insight for themselves so that they can really make the changes and live the life that they want to? So that's kind of the difference. Before it was like really all about me and trying to gain stuff. Like, how can I get stuff?
Yeah, it wasn't personal growth. It was how can I outgrow the competition?
Yeah.
That's why I got into it too, right? It's I want to be the best.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily personal growth, but can I get enough knowledge to be better than the people in the room?
Yep. Yeah.
And now I'm like, I don't want to be the best in the room.
No. But if I can help somebody else be the
That's
best,
right.
I would love
That's
that.
That's right.
Well, right now, I'm in one of my volunteer organizations. I'm a part of the American Legion. I'm second in command. I'm the senior vice. The next step up is the commander. I don't want it. And I tried to explain to him, I don't want it. I'm happy being second in command. I'm happy helping you develop and be a good commander, but I don't want that chair anymore. And then he wasn't at a meeting, and the commander saw I had to run the meeting being second in command. At a meeting that he runs, it takes an hour and a half. We were done in 35 minutes. And now everybody wants me to be the commander. And I'm like, still don't want to be the commander. I will help develop and create, but I want to be the guy that supports the commander. I want to be the guy that helps him grow and develop. And that is, I got to company commander just as fast as I could in the military. But now today it's just like, no, I don't want that. I don't want, and it's not even about the responsibility. I know how to handle responsibility. I just don't want that job.
Yeah.
I don't want everybody coming to me for all the answers. I don't want that.
Yeah, it's a lot different in that position versus being a coach. Like when you actually help, because they're there because they actually want to change.
Yeah.
Like people want to learn how to be better, be their best self, so they can do stuff. Whereas position like that, it's almost like you're forcing stuff on people. I'm not saying that everybody doesn't want to learn and grow, but when you're a coach, like you really know why people are there. Like there's more of a vested interest in going somewhere.
I belong to two organizations that are really good organizations, and they do good things: the Knights of Columbus and the American Legion. Now, as I was coaching, I wasn't able to participate with either one of them. As I retired from coaching, I had to figure out which one I wanted to be a part of, and it's a very difficult decision because one of them was filled with a bunch of whiny old men, and the other one was filled with a bunch of whiny old men.
It's hard.
And it's so but they're a bunch of whiny old men who do really good things for the community. And which one should I? Well, I'd spent a lot of time. I've been Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go to the American Legion. I joined the American Legion. In the first meeting, there was so much drama. I've now qualified for acting in any major film. It's like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why do we get to a point where we're not just out to serve one another and do the things that the community needs us to do?
Yeah.
Well, I've got some answers if we look at the brain seriously, but
Yeah.
we're not going to do that here. It's not the show for it. But
when we're talking about personal development, what is like one of the things that throughout the years, like that has kind of stuck with you the most? Like you sit and go, now I get it. And maybe you got it a few years ago, and it's not a shade at your coach, but
Because he's old.
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
words matter. Words matter. I think it's the biggest thing that I learned. I used to get so upset when these athletes, my bad. It's my bad. Stop it. Why are you saying that?
Yeah.
All right, well, it's my bad. I made the mistake. Well, that's okay. Let it go. You don't need to advertise it to the world. And I just, as hard as I tried to get that phrase out of my athletes, it just kind of stuck there in the early 2000s on up. But words matter. And the things you say can either build a person up or they can tear them down.
Yeah.
So think about what you're saying.
The biggest thing is we always find time to help everybody else. We always find time to do whatever, right? But we never find the time to help ourselves, right? And I am, I absolutely hate bumper sticker theology. I hate bumper sticker motivation. I hate, hey, put the air mask on yourself first. So you got to take care. Shut up. I don't like that. If I had a baby on my lap, I'm going to take care of my baby. That's just instinct, right? So I'm not going to say that. But what I've noticed is when things go well, we take a lot of focus off of ourselves. So we start eating wrong, we start sleeping wrong, we start not reading, we don't exercise, we don't try to personally develop ourselves because things are going well.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, when they start going bad, you step back and go, oh, I'm not going to church every week. I'm not reading every week. I'm not getting to the gym every week. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned is you got to carve out time every day to focus on yourself, whether it's sit under a tree and just be silent, whether it's pray, whether it's study, whatever it is. Some people, you'll never catch me running. You don't ever see anybody smiling when they run, right? You see,
Coach Mike.
I'm a 5K guy. I'm going to do
30
a
years
marathon.
ago.
None of those people are smiling
Yeah.
when they're doing that. It tells me it's not fun, right? So you'll never see me running, but that might be that person's time for personal development. I don't know what they got in their earbuds, but maybe they're zoning out the world. You've heard of runner high and all that good stuff. So, I'd always look at them like there's something better to do than run, but maybe that's that person's, as I wasn't doing anything for my own self. Maybe that was that person's time to really focus and do what they do for themselves. So I've really worked it into my day now to really, I've got hours of personal development built into my day. And it's made a difference in the way I approach everything.
To your point, I've been working hard, since the bypass and everything else on losing weight, getting my weight under control. And I'm getting down to that point where I'm really starting to get happy with my weight, my conditioning, my time in the gym. I go to this weekend retreat on the walk to Emmaus, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. And I'm so focused on these men that we're developing. I got home and I thought, I wonder 6 pounds I gained over the friggin' weekend. because I lost focus
Yeah.
on the eating right, the doing things. Now, could be just water weight from all the, beer and cigars, but
Yep.
of
Yeah.
course.
Sounds like
Beer.
But, they had all kinds of
Yeah.
snacks out there.
Yeah.
You're standing out there. Well, it's just one donut in each hand.
But but the fact of the matter is, out of all these books that I've read, I think everyone has always kind of said, you gotta work on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't think of one that hasn't said that. So over time, kind of good.
It's kind of thing you have to keep doing the things that got you
Yep.
to that place where you were happy. And like you were saying, I think sometimes we start feeling good and it's like, oh, okay, now I can,
Yeah.
I can relax and chill now. And then next thing you know, you're way off course and like, wait a minute, how did I get here?
Yeah.
It's because you stopped doing the things that got you to where you are. So one of the things for me is like trying to get out of this mindset that like I'm stuck. It's like I'm not stuck. I'm just repeating the same bad habits.
Yeah.
And that's what most of it is. People's like, man, I'm stuck. I can't get over the hump. I can't get over the hump. It's because you keep doing the same things that are not getting you over the hump. And we go through that whole cycle of, we get motivated. We want to, really want to do something. Then it doesn't happen. So then we get frustrated. Then we get mad at ourselves for getting frustrated. Then we quit.
Yep.
Then we recommit, start doing it, going again, start feeling good. So you're just repeating the pattern. So it's
Rancher Ron once told me, God rest his soul. I'm bringing up all the good people.
Yeah.
He goes, D, you got to quit starting.
Yeah.
When he said it, I didn't know what he meant. But now you look back and you're like,
Oh.
so a good friend of mine, Richie Celebrini, he owns a gym. He's a natural bodybuilder. He is training me. I'm not going to be a natural bodybuilder, just right.
But the natural part.
But I marvel at these guys because of how mentally strong they are. Because he's like, no, he won a bunch of shows in 2024, and then he takes 2 years off to lift, gain big, boom, 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 and then so in 2027 he'll go again, and so the word he uses, and he tells me, he says, Ken, you have to be diligent with your eating habits. You have to be diligent. And it's a word you know what it is, but I never heard a coach say that before,
Yeah.
right? To your point, the way you eat, whatever, is I didn't get fat overnight. I'm not going to get skinny overnight. If I do, I'm probably sick. But you have to be diligent. So, when you want to have those 2 donuts, you've got to go, I'll just have water, right? Or go, well, I can't expect to lose a pound this week because, I ate all the cheese balls.
I was just going to eat the whole, but I had to eat everything around it to get to it.
That's it. And donuts are my crack too, right? I mean, I absolutely love them, but the word that resonated was diligent. And here's a guy who, when he's getting ready for a show, no sugar, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he is the body. I mean, he's the Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, you can count the muscles, 0 fat, and and he's got to be diligent. Listen, when you haven't eaten and you're just eating straight protein and getting ready, I don't know what they do, right? But they're getting ready for the show. And there's you go by a bakery, you want to try a carb load. I don't know. Right. But you have to be very diligent. Personal growth is the same way. You have to be diligent with it. To your point is, when things are going good, you just made it, right? Yeah. And then everything goes by you in a second. So you have to be very diligent with your personal growth. And if you're talking legacy, what is it that you want to leave? You have to be diligent in that area,
Yeah.
right? It's not what you leave for your kids, it's what you leave in your kids, right? That's legacy. And Garth Brooks, has the song. It's like, on your headstone, it tells you the day you're born and the day you're dead. But that little dash in between is your legacy, right? That's the story you want people to tell. What is in that dash? And I think personal growth, and I've taken years off. And I'm not saying I've taken a day off. I've taken years off. Hey, things are going good, middle management, and then they let you go and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
Wake up calls.
And then all of a sudden you're in your 50s, and guess whose resume gets thrown to the bottom of the pile or thrown away?
You didn't have enough keywords in it.
They didn't have enough keywords, but why do they want you when they get a 28-year-old?
Yeah.
Because that 28-year-old can be around longer, whatever the case may be.
And you can pay them less.
And you can pay them a lot less. So it happens, and I've been there. I've taken years off.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take years to get back to it.
That's the beauty of it.
Right.
You just got to do it.
You just have to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to really find the time to do it. I'm a morning guy, so my personal development's in the morning, right? I can't, I'm mush after 3:00. A lot of times that's where I do a lot of networking, so I don't have to think.
What time do you coach your girls?
Yeah, 3 to 5. Not anymore. 6 to 8. So a lot of it is, to me, is with personal growth is you got to find someone or something that resonates with you.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a good point. It's got to resonate for you. How many times, whether we're watching it on YouTube or reading it in a book or it's on a TV show, and you're not liking it, but you keep reading it because there's got to be something better.
Yeah, I've done that.
The next chapter will be better.
Yeah.
It's only like a page long. The next chapter will be better, right? And by the time you're halfway through the book, you say, "Oh, that was crap."
Yeah.
Why did I? That's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. But then you open a book, and that first sentence is bam, and you're like, "Whoa!" Right. Next thing you know, you're at the end of the book, going, "How can I apply this to my life?"
Yeah.
Right. I'm a farm boy from Nebraska reading a guy from New York, but I like the things he did. How do I take city stuff, transform it into country stuff, and find that happy medium?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. You were talking about applying the stuff when I was talking about early personal development versus later. In the early, I wasn't applying the things. Like I said, I was just accumulating a bunch of information, whereas today it's like, okay, this is saying do this. Now I got to go out and apply it and put it to use. So I thought that was beautiful.
That's a great point. If we write a book, say, okay, now don't look at this book for 2 weeks. Go do that.
Yes.
And whoops, it hadn't been 2 weeks. Put it down. Go do that.
Yeah. It's like on audiobooks where they'll say like pause right here.
Yeah.
Don't come back until you've done the exercise. So that's an important key. And just being open.
COVID.
What's the cough button?
Yeah. Just to maybe my train of thought. Made me think back to Harvard because I remember the first time I showed up and coach was like, because I was like, yeah, I just want to come. He's like, yeah, just come check us out. See what we're doing. I get there. He's like, yeah, so these are your headphones. That button there, if you have to cough, push that button. I was like, coach, I just come to observe. He's like, you think I'm going to have you drive an hour and just sit here? You've got something to say. Put the headphones on. You're on the show.
Would I ever do a thing like that?
Absolutely. But you have to be, I know I was going, you have to be open like all the time. You have to be open for personal development because whether I'm watching a TV show or listening to music or anything, anywhere, I'm listening. And when you're paying attention and like when you're really into it, you start noticing themes and you start hearing things over and over. And that's like when it's really getting good. And like you really know you're growing and things are starting to take root. It's because you're starting to see these things in all these different places. So
I'll tell you, what was a Shrek right? You watch Shrek with your kids. Oh, I don't want to ride. Then when you watch it, you realize the adult humor hidden inside of Shrek is worth half the cost of admission. But you got to wait. They're not going to watch that between 10 and 17. They're going to start getting the.
I still watch it. Right? My kid, now my grandson's watching them.
That's right.
It's fun. But yeah, speaking of personal growth, right? Did I see a post about a podcast?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a podcast called Barely Bold. And so the concept is that, most of us are like barely living, instead of living bold. So it's going to be a focus around that and around my bold framework that I've talked about before: building, overcoming, leveraging, and define. So those would be the themes, and really going to be hitting on some stuff to get people thinking and moving in the right direction.
How do we find it, or will it?
It'll be on YouTube. My page will be Barely Bold.
Okay.
That's the name of the YouTube page. On Instagram, you'll be able to see clips on barelybold.co and on Demond K. Ross.
I'm excited for it. I saw that. I was like, all right, cool. That's good. Yeah, I'm excited for that. But that's growth, right? I mean, 10 years ago, you weren't ready.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I needed a little more gray in the beard.
Yeah. It was a lot. But just at a different place now, and continuing to do this personal development work. You just get to a point where it's like, okay, it's time to stop accumulating information and start putting things into practice. And like, if you really want to help people, if you really want to make a difference in people's lives, sitting and reading books and consuming YouTube is not going to do it. Like, that's not going to have an impact.
YouTube Reels aren't going to help me become a weightlifter like Anatoly.
Me watching YouTube Reels is not going to help you. Me putting out Reels is going to help people, but me sitting and consuming them myself is not going to help.
So to your point about, you start listening to things, and on the talk, I started following Paul Harvey.
Now for the rest of the story.
And this man is brilliant with his he probably wrote most of them. I don't know. But I remember noon, he came on straight at noon, and now the rest of the story and the nuggets that you learn from that. So on TikTok, it's got the whole little 5-minute piece of that we would do, and you just are like, it's amazing, right? But what got me was like, here's a guy who made a living out of telling the rest of the story.
5 minutes a day.
Yeah, 5 minutes a day. Here's Dr. Pepper. Here's the backstory. Now you know
the rest of the story.
Page 2, right? I mean, the guy was, and that's all that he did, and he's still edutaining, what we tend to do here at Two Bald Guys. But the amazing thing, 5 minutes a day, and this guy made a difference in so many people's life. But the aha moments that he had to have researching those things, and doing it, and then going, I think I can do this every day for 5 minutes. I mean, it's amazing. And the voice is, unmistakable. It's just, it kind of takes you back. But the amazing thing is, when you're in that zone, you start seeing people's gifts different. You're like, that's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, look at your teams, right? You got somebody out there, you got a 7'2" guy who wants to be a point guard. It's like,
Wemby. 7, 8, whatever.
7 forever.
7 foot forever. That's what he is.
But you got that college kid right now from Florida,
7'9",
who didn't play hardly 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's from Canada.
Yeah,
he's Canadian.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's standing under the basket doing his layups.
Yeah, doing Mikings like this. Looks like he's on a nerf.
Like, right.
But we digress.
Yeah. But that's what I think when you're focused and you're pushing on personal growth, I think you see the growth of other people and ideas and things, and your lenses change, and I think I wish I would never have taken those years off.
Yeah.
Would I be in a different place? Who knows, and who cares,
Right.
really? But things were going good. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I sit in the easy chair. Let me be easy. Right?
Somebody's got to break that thing in.
Yeah.
My wife is going through, she just had back surgery 10 days ago. And they got rid of the pain that the surgery was supposed to get rid of, but it created a new pain from the surgery. But that's a pain that will go away. And so, helping her through it, it doesn't take away from the fact it hurts.
Mhm.
And she can't bend over and pick up a simple piece of paper on the floor. Walk by, she's looking at the floor. I'm like, what are you looking at? A piece of paper. Would you like me to do something with it? Yeah. Would you pick it up? Sure. You could ask. Well, you should see it. I don't look down.
She should know that after all these years.
She's so amazing. Everything she did for me through all my surgeries and stuff over the last few weeks. I will you let me take care of you a little bit?
So I saw a meme. And it was like, hey, when your husband says that he'll do anything for you, he's talking like fight a robber and superhero shit. It ain't like folding the laundry, doing the dishes. I was like, yep.
Look, my wife went on a retreat. Who knew the dishwasher wasn't automatic?
So what you're saying right now, after her surgery, your dishwasher's broke.
I'm doing the best I can. The best I can.
But she's on the mend. So we good.
Well, I took the whole weekend off. But as I did, I called my granddaughter with our great grandbaby. I said, hey, could you go? My granddaughter's a nanny. I said, I need you to do some nana-ing.
Yeah.
Right? Go take care. Well, found out she went over. She fixed her dinner. She cleaned the kitchen. She,
Nice.
did all kinds of cool stuff. I'm like,
So you're going on a retreat every week?
Yeah.
Every weekend?
I don't know if I'll go, but I'll say that I
Got
am.
another one.
Can I come stay with you for the
Got
weekend?
another one. I got a retreat over at the Bucks.
I got a Demond K. Ross retreat, motivational weekend. So we've been talking about the books we read, the personal development we get by doing our own work. Last show we talked about the people in our lives. Going forward, how do you take this and give it to someone else? Or do you want to keep all that information to yourself? Who is it that you want to help with the things that you've learned?
Really any human being, but particularly people that want to grow and want to do better, and also have a special interest in helping educators, people that work with students. So I'm also like finishing and completing a workshop, to talk about that too. So, just really want to pour into the people that work with youth, because initially, I wanted to be a speaker for youth, and I'll still do that. But I've realized that for me to have a greater impact, if I influence the people that are working with them, then that can go on and on versus a one-time speech. And, some of them may grab a nugget that they keep, but for most of them, it'll be like, oh, that guy was pretty cool. And a couple of days later.
And you heard he said, wasn't that good? Pass the beer, please.
Yeah, right. Whereas if I help that educator
Yeah.
who's going to be there year after year, or, day after day, month after month, year after year, that can have a more lasting effect. So.
And I like what you said. I was on my way home from a basketball tournament yesterday or on Sunday, and we're on 53. I don't know if you've been on 53 lately. It's off.
A lot of construction.
Yep.
And there's a sign that says, stay in your lane. And I was like, that is good advice.
Yeah.
And like you, when I was young, I wanted to throw up on everybody, right? I wanted to hit everybody, get everybody with all my knowledge that I had and my success. But now I've learned kind of the same way. Is I want to help people who want to help themselves.
Yeah.
Right. I'm blessed to be able to work with athletes, and they're in college, to better themselves. They want to work on themselves. They want to get better at the sport, but they also want to chase their dream. So with personal growth comes that wisdom piece of staying in your lane. I ain't gotta get all 4 lanes worth of traffic. If I stay in my lane, I'm gonna be able to affect the right people and the people that need it, right? Instead of chasing the ones who I think need it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing for me is just it was just a good sign. Stay in your lane. Yeah.
I get these connections on LinkedIn all the time. They come in and say, we can get you 30 coaching clients in a year, high dollar ticket coaching clients,
I think everybody knows.
And I'll reach out to them. I'm like, here's the deal. I don't want your high ticket coaching clients. The people who can afford to pay what coaches are getting these days don't need coaching. They need a kick in the ass and
Need an accountant.
that too. But the ones who really need it, a lot of times can't afford it. And that's the people I'm looking for. So if you can go out and find me some people who really need coaching, but they can't afford it, you go and send those people to me. And they're like, well, I don't know if I know those people. Well, I do. I just show up. They find me.
Yeah.
Right. And the people who find me are the ones who really are asking for help and will apply the lessons that you're willing to give them.
Or obviously at Target. Dominates.
Yeah, that's why they all went out of business, I
That's
think.
right. No, I think that's huge. I don't have it in front of me, and I didn't write it down. But going into May, what's the topic? Do you have that? If you can, I'm just trying to set the hook. I think, what we're doing here with Two Ball Guys is, we're taking a look at a topic and kind of running it out for the month, so that it makes it easy for you, the listeners, also makes it easy for us. While you're doing that, just give another shout out to our good guy and producer back there who did show up. Thanks for coming in, Tom. Tom from Tom'sProductions.com. Tom's Productions. You think it? You link it on.
It's
all
easy
your
for you to
printing
say.
and decorated apparel needs. Take a look at everything right here on the table: hats to tumblers to koozies, beer cold holders, you name it, t-shirts, swag, pens, anything that you can and or want to put your logo on. Tom is top shelf, probably the best in the best t-shirt salesman out there.
Well, May is the month of mothers.
So now you're just making it up because you couldn't find it?
Well, no, I found
okay.
a couple of different, but what I'm looking at is relationships.
Oh, yeah, relationships.
The relationships that have helped to make you who you are. It could be a family member. It could be a coach.
Well, you couldn't find it. That's at 8/17. That was back in 2017.
Well, you asked for topics. That's where,
No, well, you wrote them down. We
but
put
that
them
was on a piece of paper. I
Yeah, I
don't
know.
have it.
That's why I said if you don't got it, that's okay. I love this guy. He's literally got the topics from 2017 Two Ball Guy shows.
And you probably heard him, but
He literally, I'm like, this is 2017. We started back in 2016, so that's still at the radio station. So
that's when we were first getting
now
our
the
personal
rest of the
development up.
story.
And
amazing. I'm flowing through those, and
Reboot.
I was like 2017.
there we go. We
Yeah.
We'll
figure it out, and we'll get it out there. But come back in May, right? And enjoy it. We're gonna have some fun.
coming up in July, we have the 250th birthday of our nation. And I think, just to give a little early preparation, we'll probably be doing something special around the first week in the first show in July, focusing on the 250th.
Well, we'll have to take a look at it because there's not a lot of people who live in this great nation who think it is a great nation anymore.
You'd be
We don't want to rock the boat.
rock the boat. That's kind of think that's what we do, isn't it?
Oh Lord, certainly don't paddle it anymore. That's right. That's right. Hey, and also just want to give a shout out to our good friends over at Health Markets. If you need questions answered, you're a small business owner, anything to do with your health insurance, it is just muddy water right now. A lot of things have changed, a lot of weird things. But if you reach out to Health Markets, Kate Jones at healthmarkets.com or 815-861-0294, he'll help you out with all your health insurance questions. For you, your small business, whatever the case may be. All good.
Amen. And 2026 is going to be a year of no surgeries, no rehab, no physical therapy,
I hope so.
Well,
at least for me.
I already broke that in January, so
Would you?
for my hamstring,
Oh,
I wrapped up in January. Yeah, 2 small tears in my hamstring. Fun times.
that hurts.
Fun times.
That hurts. All right.
Here we are. We are two bald guys and a microphone. And we look forward to coming back in the month of May. And guess what the topic will be? So, my name is Tim Stewart. I am Coach Papa. And we do approve this message. Now it's time for you to get off the bench and get back in the game. God bless.
Living it loud, 2 bald guys, we're making you proud. Breaking down barriers, united we fight. In this crazy world, we bring the light. 2 bald guys and a microphone, chasing dreams, we made it all.